Hi, I'm Alicia and welcome to my channel Papercraft Secrets. Today I'm working with Uniquely Creative's Something Blue collection and I'm making a folio and a set of cards. This is the perfect gift. It could be a Christmas gift that you could make for somebody and wrap up and pop under the tree. It consists of 5 matching cards and matching envelopes, some tags cut from the Something Blue collection, and it all sits snugly into this folio, which really does allow you to personalize it and make it extra special. So let's take a look at how I created the folio and the set of cards, and we'll do it step by step together. So let's get started. Firstly, you will need 3 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock. The first sheet we're going to cut at 9 3/4 by 6 inches. So there's the 9 3/4 inch cut, and there's the 6 inch cut. One piece of that will be spare. The second page we're going to cut at 6 inches and 5.5 inches. So there's the 6 inch cut, and we're going to cut it at 5.5 inches and cut a second piece at 5.5 inches. So we now have 3 pieces of paper, 1 large rectangle and 2 smaller, almost square pieces. Take your large rectangle and put it on the 9 3/4 inch side. We're going to score at 1 inch and 2 inches. There's the 1 inch score, there's the 2 inch score, then flip it around to the other 9 3/4 inch score side and score again at 1 inch and 2 inches. So on the shorter ends of the rectangle, we have a 1 inch fold there, and then we have the 2 inch fold. A 1 inch fold there, and the 2 inch fold there. There we go. Now these pieces are going to be glued straight onto those little flaps that we've made. So we're just going to glue that first one on there, and then carefully we're going to glue the second one on there. Now you do have to just allow a tiny little bit of setting time. Just smooth that down a little bit so that that glue is activated there. That's our folio. It's so easy. We're going to move on to the inside pockets. We're going to need another 12 by 12 cardstock. We're going to cut the first cut at 7.5 inches. There's our 7.5. The next cut we're going to make is 5 inches, and the cut after that we're going to make is 4 inches. So we've got 2 rectangles now. One is slightly skinnier than the other. For the scoring on these, we're going to score on all 3 sides. 1/2 inch and 1 inch. 1/2 inch, 1 inch. 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 1/2 inch, and 1 inch. And we leave the third edge free of any score lines because that's the top of the pocket. There's our 1/2 inch and our 1 inch, and our last 1/2 inch and 1 inch, leaving that top edge clear. We're going to cut that little square out, 4 little squares out of both of the pockets. So they're gone. Now we're going to fold down on our score lines. So we're going to fold the 1/2 inch. There's the 1/2 inch. There's the 1/2 inch, and then we're going to fold down on the 1 inch and the 1 inch, and that will become our pocket. We're going to do a little dot of glue. So we're going to put a little dot there, little dot there, and we're just going to join up those edges. So there's our 2 pockets. So very easy. Now these go in the middle. So I'm going to put glue on those tabs. The big one goes in first. Just center it with your eye. You'll have a tiny little gap. And then the little one will go directly on top. And that's where the cards and the envelopes will sit. Now, how easy is that? That's our folio completed. That is the structural part completed. Now, the Uniquely Creative cards I'm using, it's a cards and envelopes set, and they're a square card. They fit perfectly into this pocket because I modified this tutorial to suit these cards. So this tutorial I saw on Rosa Kelly's scrapbooking YouTube channel, but I have changed it a little bit. So the envelopes will fit nicely in the back, and the cards will fit nicely in the front pocket. So this is a special Uniquely Creative square card folio that suits their cards and envelopes. You wouldn't have to do 5. The bulkier your cards are going to be, the less you do. Mine only just fitted in, and I kept mine very simple and flat. So you just got to keep an eye on how many you're actually doing and how thick your cards are. So now we're up to decorating the folio. Now this is where you can choose any paper that you like. Even if you don't have Uniquely Creative Something Blue collection, you might have another Uniquely Creative paper collection that you could use. You could make it a Christmas folio. Totally up to you. With the Uniquely Creative Something Blue collection, it does involve a little bit of planning with the heavily patterned papers. So keep that in mind as you're going. I decided to go with this nice light blue as the cover. And I decided to not leave much of a border around the edge of each piece, although you could choose to leave a border if you wanted to. So for the front flap of the folio, it's a 6 by 5.5 inch. I want to say square, but it's technically a rectangle. So that's what you'll need. Choose your paper and then cut it to that size to fit exactly on top. So you're actually going to need 2 of those. So one for the front flap and then one for the second flap that just goes slightly underneath. So you're going to need 2 of those 5.5 by 6 inch cuts. Now the back measurement is 6 by 5 3/4 inches. But before we do glue that on, we're going to glue our ribbon on first. So let's just cut it and get it ready. 6 inches. 5 3/4. I'm using this crinkly ribbon. So I'm going to glue that down, and then I'm actually going to use some sticky tape to secure that down so that there's no chance of that ribbon coming out later. It's nice and secure there. Then I measure the back section off the front so that the two ribbons match perfectly. So a little bit of glue first. Just going to bring it around the corner there. Lots of sticky tape. Now once that is secured down, we can then paste the back cover paper on. Now we have our two little side bits. Now the sides measure 6 by 1 inch and you need 2 of those. Just going to cut off that tiny little bit of white. So there's my 6-inch square, and I'm going for a 1-inch cut. It's going to go on the side there over the top of the ribbon. Now that ribbon I sticky taped down on that side bit as well. Glue that little bit on the top of the ribbon. Then we're just going to cut another 1 inch and glue that on the other side. And that is the outside completed. So again, it's quite easy, doesn't take too long, it's quite fun really, and it's looking really beautiful with these something blue papers. So now I'm thinking about decorating the inside of the folio. So we've got our inside flaps measure 6 by 5.5 inches. We're going to need 2 of those. I'm going to change papers. You could keep the same paper if you wanted to, or you could change to a different paper. I decided to go with this geometric designed paper. So there I've cut my 5.5 by 6. And that is going to go on the inside of that flap there and the inside of that flap there. Just decided I just need to trim that slightly because you want to have enough room for the fold. You don't want it to be so tight that it doesn't fold properly. So you're better to have just a little bit less paper and have that nice easy fold than have a little bit too much paper and not be able to fold it. So I end up just taking a tiny little slither off there for the fold. Okay. Now I decided to add some gold in because the gold stickers that I wanted to use are in gold, so I wanted to add a little bit of gold in. So I've cut these little strips here that are going to fit inside, and I think they're a 1 inch by 6 inch strip. Then we've got the back of the pockets to do, and I choose to use gold for that as well. So that's just going to go in there. Leaving a little gap for the fold as well. Now I'm moving on to the front of the pockets. That's going to go on there. So front of the pockets, measure 5.5 by 3. Put that on. And then I think that's a 5.5 by 1. Second pocket, 5.5 by 1, yes. Glue that on there. It's looking good. Now, this is an option. You don't have to do this. I thought it would be nice to put some tags in. So I've cut 2 front pockets at 5.5 by 2.5 inches. And I'm going to glue those onto the inside flaps. I'm only gluing 3 sides of the rectangle so that I can fit tags in this pocket. Now this is optional. This does make the folio a lot more chunky. So if you didn't want your folio to be too chunky, I would probably leave these pockets out, or maybe just put in 1 tag, because I made 3 tags for each pocket, and that does make it quite chunky. Then I fussy cut this beautiful scalloped edge border from the Something Blue collection, and I'm going to put that at the top of the pocket so that it's got a nice edge to it. Here are my tags that I just cut straight from the collection. Didn't do anything to them except punch a hole in the top and add some ribbon or some twine. But there's 4 for each pocket, which is probably a little too many. Does make it a little bit harder to close. I ended up cutting out another one of these because you get 2 of these in the paper collection. I like them so much, so I decided to add 1 to the bottom of this pocket, to the bottom pocket, just along there, and then the other one to the pocket at the back for the envelopes, because I felt like that gave it some cohesion between all of them. And I love scalloped borders. So there we go. It's starting to look really nice now. So you can see how it's a bit fatter because of the tags, but because you can still close it with the ribbon, not a problem. My next step was decorating the front cover. I wanted to keep everything quite simple. I didn't want to go too busy because the patterns are very busy. So just got some rectangles and lined them with the gold glitter cardstock. Just popping that on there. I used a little bit of the Uniquely Creative foam squares to just help that top one stand out just a little. Just pull those off. Just a row of glue there on the other side. There we go. I used the Uniquely Creative butterfly die to cut a butterfly out of some gold glitter cardstock. I also use this lace. This lace was from the Uniquely Creative Advent kit last year, and I still have a little tiny bit left. I love this lace. So I'm just going to slide that in under there to just give a little bit more texture. I found this little tab tag, so I'm just going to glue that on with a foam square. My butterfly, beautiful butterfly, it's going to sit that there in the middle on an angle. And then last of all, I'm going to use one of these words, the word shine, to just pop down the bottom there under the butterfly. And then that's the front design completely finished. So we are nearly finished the folio now. I love the gold, but I just felt having solid gold was a little too much for me, so I ended up doing a extra piece of paper on top of the gold and having the gold border. I don't know what you think, but after I did that, I felt much happier about it. Just the gold, straight gold was just a little bit too much for me. Now I'm thinking, yes, that's much better. Just a hint of gold, not too much. So here are my 5 little cards. I choose to cut a piece of blue paper that's going to fit the front of each of these cards, and I also cut enough to fit the inside of each of the cards. I did leave a white border around the edge. So the measurements are 5 1/8 by 5 1/8, and you'll need 10 of those to make 5 cards. It's the base of the front, and it's also the base of the inside. So some glue around the edges to pop on the front of the card, and some glue around the edges to pop on the inside of the card. I'm going to follow a similar kind of theme with just a little bit of gold edging around my papers. And I really do like this paper, so I'm going to use that again. The gold strip is 4.5 by 2 inches. The blue strip is 1 7/8 by 4 1/4. Sorry, 4 3/8 to fit in there. You could do it any size you wanted. Then I use the stickers again, and put one on each of the cards. Just take your time with the stickers. It can't be rushed. The sticker job can't be rushed. Okay, so that's them all done now. And I decided to use some of these tiles. And I'm thinking I might back those in gold as well. So I end up trimming them right down to singular tiles, cutting off all the white edges, and then sticking them onto the gold glitter cardstock. The little gap between, little border all the way round of the gold, Then I do the same for the top. Now I'm up to gluing all of this down. Just going to glue that there, glue the sentiment on top, and then the tile at the bottom. This takes a little bit of eyeballing to get it all in the right position. And then a butterfly fussy cut from the collection on top, and that's the card. It's very, very simple, very flat, all finished. Oh, I did add a little bit of gold glitter. This gold glitter actually let me down because it dried copper. It didn't match my glitter, my gold glitter, which I was a bit disappointed with. It actually came out sort of orange. So a little bit disappointed. It was just one from Spotlight, I think. I'm sure Uniquely Creative would have a better gold glitter. You don't want to mismatch your gold glitters like I did. I decided to decorate this page as well with 3 gorgeous hearts from the Creative Cuts, and the die cut from the word delight, which is a Uniquely Creative die, and it does a beautiful job. It's a gorgeous font. I love that. I love it. So simple but so pretty. Just a little eye dot. Alright, so that is pretty much everything done except for the envelopes. The envelopes I kept very simple. I just glued a butterfly onto the corner of each of those envelopes. That was all I did. I was going to do liners, but the envelope itself is quite see-through and you could see the back of the paper, so I just went with a simple butterfly for this, and I think that looks really nice. Now I decided to add a little bit of gold to all my tags. Again, make sure you get a nice gold, not an orange colored gold. And I just added a little bit of gold to the center of the flowers, just to sort of tie everything in together. I ended up adding a small decoration at the base here to match everything, with just a flower and a leaf and a butterfly. And look at this, look at all of these beautiful things that are going to go in this folio. You've got your 5 cards, they go in this front pocket here. It is a tight squeeze, but they do fit very snugly and perfectly. You've got your 5 envelopes, and they're going to go into the back pocket there. Then you've got your tags. Again, the more tags you put in, the bulkier it becomes, so up to you with how many tags you put in. Pop those all in there. Okay, and there we have it, and then we can tie that folio nice and closed with a bow, and it's all finished. I hope you like this tutorial. This is the first time I've ever done a card folio, but I love this idea as a gift for somebody. I think it's a really nice gift to give. And the Uniquely Creative Something Blue collection is perfect for the job of this folio. But if you did have other Uniquely Creative collections left over, why not create a folio using one of those? So thank you very much to Tracy, who sent me the Something Blue collection to have a play with, and all of the lovely dies that I've used in the video are Uniquely Creative dies. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching and have a lovely crafty day.